at 7 o'clock. Bill, I know that Ishmael Sopsher plays tomorrow. University High plays tomorrow. John Curtis and Catholic High on Saturday. Where are all the players at in this tournament? Are they spread out throughout all 4 days, 3 days?
Yeah, I would say so for the most part. It's once again a loaded weekend in the Dome for the state championship game. It kind of works out if you're an LSU fan looking to watch some prospects as well. You've got Kentwood tonight, Trey Palmer.
Yep.
On tonight, and then you've got Amy as well with Ishmael Sopher and Devonta Lee, and things are really picking up from there. And you've got Roy, the 2020 defensive tackle on University High as well, and littered with Division I prospects that will also be playing in the SEC. Christian Harris at Alabama, and then Brighton Constantine over in the ACC with Clemson, and Jordan Clark, Ryan Clark's son, as well over there, and Mike Hollins at Virginia. So that's all Friday. And then Zachary as well. They've got a 2021 prospect, Chance Hilton, who's probably going to be one of the top playmakers in the state of Louisiana coming out in that class. He already makes plenty of plays for Zachary. And if you really want to watch a quarterback who's kind of got it going on, it's Keelan Brown. He's a 2020 quarterback. For Zachary, he can really spin it. Everybody knows that I think LSU now has 2 commitments at quarterback that, for the most part, I would imagine stick. And so they could look at him as an athlete option. But, I mean, he throws probably one of the tightest spirals I've seen in the last couple of years. He can really, really spin it as a really good baseball prospect as well. So a lot of talent out there in the Dome.
Speaking of quarterbacks, last night Peter Parrish captures the 7A state title over in Alabama. He's been committed to LSU's class since the summertime when he came over and camped at Ogeron Summer Camp. Numbers not glaring on Parrish. He was going up against Leah Tagovailoa on the other side for Thompson. Where do we settle in on Parrish, and how do we feel about his game coming into Baton Rouge? And is that firm, his commitment?
First of all, his commitment is firm. He's ready to sign with LSU here in a couple of weeks. Just the thing about Central over there in Phoenix City is that they are so good that they do play 2 quarterbacks. There's another prospect on the roster that yes, that is a Division I talent. He's a 2020 prospect. That's how their coach Jamie DeBose, has always done it. And so last night Peter Parrish rushed for 100 yards. Completed 5 of 9 passes for 78 yards and another score. They won 52-7. So they rolled in their state championship game. Peter Parrish was named the MVP of the game. And like I said, he said he's solid, and Tommy Robinson and Steve Ensminger were on hand to watch him win a state championship. So nice way to cap his career in the high school ranks.
We're talking to Billy Embody here on Off the Bench. Billy, does
one more real quick on the
in.
quarterbacks, because you mentioned that they have 2 committed in Finley, TJ Finley, and then they just got the commitment from Max Johnson last week. Are they recruiting a style? I mean, I was very critical of LSU's quarterback recruitment over the last years, because for every Jordan Jefferson, you'd bring in a Jarrett Lee. For every Lowell Narcisse, you would see a Miles Brennan.
Okay.
Where are they recruiting a style?
I think this is the first out of the last couple of years that they've gotten as close to 2 pro-style quarterbacks as you can get. And I do think they want to throw it around. And both quarterbacks, TJ Finley and Max Johnson, have that ability, but both can kind of move. Finley's a big guy, but he's got kind of that elusiveness that Ben Roethlisberger has. He's not as advanced with it, obviously, yet, but he can kind of move around. And then Max Johnson is actually a pretty good athlete. He had a 35-inch vertical. He ran a 4.8 laser.
Oh, wow.
And at his size, it's pretty good. And then there's Peter Parrish, who can really, really run and is developing as a passer still. He wants to be a pro-style passer. I think that's the big point. He's really kind of, over the last couple of years, coming from Miami and then moving to Alabama, and then when he gets to LSU, will continue to kind of fine polish some things with his game. But he's got a pretty good arm. He impressed in camp. I mean, a lot of the times it all has to come together in a game, but you can see things that jump out at you in a camp setting. And his arm and his accuracy in the camp setting definitely stood out. So think ultimately LSU wants to be able to throw the football much more than it did even this year. But they do have some athletes that can run the ball, and if that's a part of the offense that opens things up a little bit more, they're more than happy to do it.
Yeah, and look, it's also clear if they do stick with the current offensive setup and Coach Ensminger stays as offensive coordinator, that they want to run the quarterback, but you don't have to be like the fastest to make that successful. Look at what Joe Burrow's been able to do with his legs this year. Billy, is U-High the best high school football team you've ever seen?
I would say they're the best that actually plays a state schedule. So, not like IMG or Bishop Gorman out in Nevada and places like that. But, Mater Dei is pretty good. They had Amon Ross St. Brown and JT Daniels. They were really, really impressive. But I mean, they're pretty close. They're really, really, really good football team. There's a couple of those Miami Northwestern teams back in the mid 2000s that were really good. I remember watching them growing up too as well.
What's the best game in the Dome? Carr, U-High? Would that be the best matchup?
Yeah, I think so. That would be good. Edna Carr and Warren Easton is the one on Saturday that I think will be really good. And again, if you're an LSU fan, you could be watching one of their 2020 running back commits, Ashad Clayton in that one, who's really high on LSU. Yeah, I think, U-High is probably, poor St. Thomas More. I watched them earlier this year. They've got a good quarterback and some players, but I don't think it's going to be a contest.
Yeah, and T-Bob and I think are going to talk about this in a little bit with U-High, and I've had a chance to have a front row seat over the last 3 years on this run. When they're motivated, that's the thing. Like when they're zoned in and thinking about an opponent, and this is their last game together tomorrow, and they're looking to go out with a bang. And when they're zoned in and they're talking like that, they're almost impossible to beat. Billy Embody joining us here. Go 247 covers recruiting over there. Ishmael Sopsher tomorrow playing in the noon game. His recruitment obviously front and center for LSU fans. Early signing period coming up. Sopsher said he's going to stick it out to the first Wednesday in February. Where's this thing sit right now between LSU Bama here in early December?
Yeah, it's going to be an LSU-Alabama deal kind of to the end. They'll both host him on official visits in January, and then he's going to announce on National Signing Day in February. Right now, I think Alabama has the edge, but it's not about where you are right now. It's about where you finish. And he did take a visit to Texas A&M this past weekend, but I think this has been an LSU-Alabama battle, and I think it'll certainly be that way. Come January all the way up until the end. I think this will probably be similar to kind of a Caleb on Chasson deal where, they're recruiting him right up until the end, and then you see where your cards stand kind of going into the final decision on National Signing Day.
Bill, enjoy the weekend. Thanks for the info this morning, man.
Thanks for having me, guys.
All right, Billy, take it easy, man.
Billy Embody joining us here on Off the Bench, talking some recruiting. We'll be back and close it out.